name is Leilani Melendez, and today we're specifically going to talk to the Floridians in this room. We're going to talk about the UA and the PEP scholarship and what you need to think about now for the upcoming 2026-27 school year. So I have compiled a list of common mistakes, biggest deadlines, what you can do, and we're going to talk about it in this video. So I know a lot of you guys are having anxiety. I've been there, done that. I have received both PEP and UA scholarships for my kids. So I understand, but I also understand from the other side of things because I am a direct provider. I do homeschool evaluations in Florida as well as choice navigation, which is basically consultations and coaching for homeschooling. So like I said, we're going to talk about all these. I'm going to give you some tips and tricks as well for reimbursement when that time does actually start to come. So the first thing I want to talk about is the scholarship status. You want to make sure that is correct on the EMA system. I'm sure all of you already know how to use the EMA system. Log in, do your passcode, get the text, and then you type in that number. Now the the PEP is already done. The deadline is done for this year. However, the UA scholarship deadline is further out for the 2026-27 school year. And that's not going to be until November 15th, 2026. So make sure that if you are thinking about doing the UA scholarship, that you hurry up and get that information ready. Now, I'm going to put both in the description box, the handbook for PEP as well as the UA. And for the UA, the reason I bring it up right now, because in the UA handbook, you're going to see the different diagnosis and disabilities that qualify for the UA. And I've actually a few times had a couple of parents come to me and say, you know, mine's not listed under there. My child has a speech delay or some very rare genetic conditions. Now you can look under there. There is a spot where it's other specific disabilities. Also, you know, ADHD is one that comes up. Yes, if your child does have ADHD and they have a diagnosis, you find it under, I think it's behavioral disabilities. So it's in there. And the worst thing that you could ever do when it comes to this is not apply. You can always try to apply. The worst thing they'll do is deny you. Or they may actually accept you, even if it's something you think that doesn't qualify. So I would, if you have any questions, I would go in there and apply. Or you can contact Step Up for Students and ask them, hey, look, this is the disability. This is the behavioral issue. What does this qualify as? And they will guide you through this. So those handbooks are down in there. And of course, when you're applying, you do have to have that documentation, whether you receive it from a medical doctor or a psychologist. The next thing you need to do in general for everybody is make sure you're logging into the EMA system frequently, because at the very top of it, it will have an activities section, activities that need to be completed section, and you need to make sure that if something pops up in there, you take care of it right away. And that could be anything from receipts that don't go through, or maybe your SLP plan is not complete. Now, the SLP is the Student Learning Plan. And this is where a lot of parents get really nervous because they think that they have to write out a full report. And that is not what it is at all. Currently, it is just basically a checklist. And you'll do one at the beginning and you'll do one at the end, and they're just gathering data is what they're doing to see if you feel like you succeeded at this or not, and what you're actually, you know, doing with your kids. You're just gathering data. They're not going to hold you to it. They're not going to say, oh, you didn't fulfill it, therefore you can't have the scholarship anymore. That's not what it's about. So do it honestly. And it's really easy. It's really quick, fast. You don't have to write a report. So make sure right now to check your EMA system and check that little box in the upper left-hand corner to make sure everything is complete. Next thing you need to think about is the annual assessment requirements. Now, if you have the PEP, at the end of the year, you do have to have an annual assessment test specifically. I'm also going to stick in the links a list of the Florida Department of Education approved tests that you can use. I am going to do a video in the future where I'm going to talk about each and every one of those tests. I have proctored many of those tests that are approved, and I actually own one of them, and you can actually use me as an evaluator or a test administrator on my website. I have a link to that as well. I do the RAT5. I'm also going to do a video in the future talking about the RAT5 and what's it about. But to prepare yourself mentally, you will have to do a test for them. And there's different types of tests that you can use. Now, that's only for the PEP. And I want to be very clear. It's not for the UA. It's only for the PEP. If you have the UA, you should have sent in your letter to homeschool, and you only have to do a yearly annual evaluation with a certified teacher. And I do those as well too. Websites in the description box below. But there are so many amazing homeschool evaluators across the state of Florida. The only suggestion I really have for you is make sure that you find a certified teacher that, and if you're nervous about it, I mean, of course, if you have a relative or friend, you can ask them. I'm not gonna lie, you can. But if you want someone who understands homeschooling, you wanna go with someone who homeschools or has homeschooled their kids. And that's a plus, because you don't want to get, because there are teachers out there that are moonlighting this, and they're coming in there and their expectations are very different because they don't understand the homeschool laws completely, and it could be very stressful for you. So make sure that you check with your evaluator, check to make sure they're homeschooling, and trust them. All right, so I have videos on that too, and I will stick those up in my cards as well on how to find an evaluator. A very important thing that you get a good one. And of course, if you don't like them, you can totally fire them and go to somebody else. It's okay. It's okay. You can do that because you're in the driver's seat. Yes. So also PEP, if you have the PEP, make sure you have sent in your letter of termination to your district, your letter of homeschool termination to your district, because PEP is not considered homeschooling in the state of Florida. It is its own bucket. It looks like homeschooling, but when it comes to attendance and laws, it doesn't fall under homeschool laws. It falls under their own specific laws. UA does. UA does fall under homeschool laws. And that's why you have to have the annual assessment by a certified teacher or evaluation, portfolio evaluation. And that is why you have to have your letter to homeschool, intent to homeschool form turned in. PEP, you have to have a letter of termination because you're not homeschooled. I hope that makes sense. I know a lot of people still get confused by that, but that's what it is. You can also look at the statutes, which are on their website, the state's website. And I can leave that link as well in the description box below, but that's what they are. You can also look at your district. Your district should have that information up on the website. FPEA also has a great, actually that's a lot easier and much user-friendly to use instead of checking out the state's website. So I'm gonna leave a link actually to starting points in the description box below from the FPA, which is the Florida Parent Education Association, which is basically the big organization that helps out Florida homeschoolers, and they have a great one. So go ahead and look at that. Now, I will add that if you did miss the deadline, I probably should have added this earlier on. If you did miss the deadline for the PEP and you checked Emma, missed the deadline, know that they do open up around February, March. Keep your eyes open in January. It will open up for new parents to apply for the PEP scholarship. Another thing I do want to add, if you have the PEP or the UA scholarship, please check your emails. And please read them and watch the videos, watch the workshops, just watch all of it. Because if you do that, first of all, it's peace of mind and you won't have to stress out about it, but you'll probably know more about what's going on with the scholarship than 70-80% of the people who receive the funds. You will have peace of mind and you'll be teaching others what's going on. So make sure you check your emails. Also, keep an eye on what's going on politically. If you have time, a great organization is HEF, Home Education Foundation. That is Jason Crawford. Brenda Dickinson was our former lobbyist, and she's still involved with that as well, but she has retired. She still gets involved. You know how it is when you retire, you just like keep going. Anyway, Jason is the lobbyist. They're amazing. They're the lobbyists for the state of Florida, and they work their tushies off, helping to make sure that we understand the legal requirements, that the politicians understand the legal requirements, the districts understand the legal requirements. If there's something that, could really, really hurt us as homeschoolers, they're on top of it. They're lobbying. They do amazing things. But if you want to know what's going on politically, because they always need your help. They need you guys to make phone calls, write letters, emails. I know, because we don't write letters anymore, right? It's all email. If they need your help, they will let you know through their Facebook group, as well as he has a Discord server that he uses to communicate with a lot of the parents, because there's like different channels and stuff like that with different categories. So I'm going to put a link to their website, and every Monday at 12 o'clock, they go live on Facebook. So you can also check out that. I watch it. And YouTube. Now go live on YouTube. So you'll see me post those things. If you join my newsletter, I will also, when there's a really good one that comes out, I will send out a little like, hey, check this out. Or I will post it up on my Facebook or Instagram or YouTube channel if it's something that they're sending out that should be checked out by parents. So keep in touch with HEF, Home Education Foundation. All right, so now here is the fun part, like the shopping and the spending the money part that I want to kind of talk to you guys about. Because first of all, the money goes by really fast. We get really excited because we get $7,000 to $10,000 or more money. Those of you that have higher matrix scores with your kids can get more funds than $10,000. If you go get an IEP and get reevaluated for a new matrix, and then they qualify for a level 4 or 5, you're going to see more money in your account. And we just recently did that. It's a whole process. If you're interested in that, let me know in the comment section. I am still waiting for those funds to kind of adjust for the next year. But we did do that whole process. Either way, the point is the money does go fast. And you have to kind of, monitor things. I'm going to give you some tips on that, right? So the first thing is the start of the actual 2026-27 school year does fall on July 1st. So you may not have funds in your account, but if you purchase things for your kids after July 1st this year, then you can use those receipts and submit them after you receive the funds, and they should start to reimburse. They will reimburse you. Now, I know a lot of people get nervous about it. I got nervous about it because I don't want to spend money that I don't think I have, just in case there's a glitch. I get it. Like, there's a lot of things to consider. Don't go crazy spending $5,000, before you have the funds in your account, because nothing's guaranteed anymore. So that's up to you. But if it's something like you need curriculum and you need to purchase it because you want to start on a certain date, and you know that if the scholarship, whatever, doesn't happen for whatever reason, you know that you can afford it, great, do it. But keep hold of that receipt so you can submit it and get reimbursed after those funds are deposited into your account. So keep that in mind. July 1st is that date. It goes fast, trust me. Now, funds are going to come in August for those of you guys that are renewing, and then September is when you guys get your funds. There's lots of things that you can purchase. The best thing for you to do is become familiar with the handbooks. Actually, it's called a purchasing guide. So there's 2 actually booklets that they have in PDF form. For PEP, they have the handbook, and then they have the purchasing guide. That's 2. And then for UA, they have the handbook, and they also have the purchasing guide. So that's also 2. So I guess it's 4 in total, but depending upon whichever scholarship you have. And get familiar with those things. Now, if you're really confused on what category it should fall under when you're turning in those receipts, you can ask ChatGPT. It'll give you some answers. For the most part, things are going to fall under instructional materials, and you're going to find like a ton of different categories under instructional materials. Especially UA has more, so you'll be able to turn in receipts for sports sneakers, sports equipment when you need it, and just learn. There's a lot. You can get on the Facebook groups and start asking about purchasing guides and categories if you want to. I'm not a fan of checking out Facebook pages. I'm really not, because if there's something like controversial going down and somebody puts a rumor out there and it's not true, then everybody starts, it just goes crazy with the rumor mill. However, when it comes to purchasing guide and help with finding categories, I think that's a safe place to go, in my opinion. But we just kind of, always go back to the primary source, which is the handbook. So I will put that in the link as well. Another thing to remember when you're doing receipts is making sure that you have the receipt with all the information. So sometimes you'll do like music lessons or, sports lessons, and there's a specific teacher, or evaluations. That's another one that is very common. You have to have the student name on there, the purpose, you need to have the date, you have to have the name of the teacher or the company on there, and everything has to kind of match up. Of course, once again, there's directions in the handbook, so check out that. I will add this, do not be surprised, because this has happened every single year. They might surprise me this year, but if you turn in a receipt, it may take up to 90 days for those funds to be deposited into your bank account or whatever, your checking account or savings account, wherever you want the funds deposited. So keep that in mind, because it may happen, especially in the beginning. Eventually it'll start to speed up and slow down. It just depends on how many people they have on board. I do want to talk to you about the My ScholarShop. It is amazing, okay? Because you can literally go on the My ScholarShop and you can look through the curriculum and they're like, I'm gonna use this, you purchase it, and it ships to you in the mail. You'll get it like 2 weeks, maybe at the most, because a lot of these companies have great turnovers. I've gotten mine as soon as like 3 days. Either way, you're gonna get them right away. You don't have to touch the money. You don't have to write a check. You don't have to use a credit card or any of that stuff. All the money does is go straight from your account into their account. You don't touch anything. You just reserve the funds. Same is true if you use a homeschool evaluator or choice navigator. I'm a provider, so it goes straight to me. You don't have to touch anything. There's no receipts. I will say this, My ScholarShop is always going to be more expensive. It will be. I don't know why, but I see that all the time. And sometimes if I see a significant price difference, I will honestly just go with Amazon.com. That's what I do. And that's another tip that I use, that I'm not one that likes to randomly shop at different places unless there's a big price difference, or if it's something that's very unique, and pick up receipts and throw them into my purse, hoping that I will pull those receipts out, scan them, and upload them to the Emma system. I just end up shopping on Amazon. I really do. That way I sit down, and this is another trick that you can use whenever you're uploading into the Emma system, these receipts, pick twice a month where you are going to sit down and just upload, because uploading those receipts is not, I'm not joking, is kind of like a part-time job. It takes a lot of work and a lot of waiting and a lot of check. I mean, it gets faster as you go, right? But you have to go one at a time through, and you gotta, it just takes some time. It takes time. So 2 times a week. And if you do a lot of purchases through Amazon, it's really easy, and I get into a groove when I'm doing it, and I get a lot done faster. So it's just my little trick. You could do the same, say the same thing for Target online or other online stores that you like. And if you pick something, that you don't normally shop from, put a little folder in the middle of your desktop and just dump the receipt in there right away after you purchase it. That's another trick. And that pretty much sums up everything I wanted to share with you guys for over the summer. I know it's going to get crazy really, really soon, and congratulations on getting the scholarship. I know a lot of people have lots of different thoughts about the scholarship, but it has been nothing but a blessing to our family. And I just, if you're looking for assessment testing, if you're looking for someone to sit down with you and help you through curriculum and just even testing in general, or giving you advice on certain things, you can contact me. My website's down in the description box below. And I work with a lot of families that have kids that have learning disabilities and special needs, because I myself also go through that, not only as a teacher, but as a parent. Also, let me know in the comment section down below your experience with receiving this scholarship. Thank you once again for watching, and I will see you in my next video.